why don't we talk about the events of the summer and the national movement around racial justice and how, if any way, that has impacted your work?
Sure. So the way that that has impacted our work is on multiple levels. First, just on a deeply personal level, with respect to myself and my staff, one of the things that became clear to me was that people were really traumatized by all of the events this summer, from George Floyd's murder to the outcry for racial justice, to the looting, to the peaceful protest. All of it had significant impacts on people, and it affected folks in many different ways. And what I realized was that if our agencies and our frontline workers were to be present to pour into the folks in need, the people who've been laid off in record numbers, that we also needed to do some self-care in order to be able to address the trauma of the individuals coming in to seek help. So that was one level of work. The other level of work was really around expanding our reach, making sure that we are hyper virtual, that people can access our services, because we were under shelter in place orders for some time, so we needed to be able to have services available to people. But we also have seen a lot of our small and medium-sized businesses that had to shut their doors as a result of the chaos, the unrest, and the pandemic. And so what we have now is a record number of individuals who are unemployed and or underemployed, more than has ever really been seen in our recent history and recent memory. And so it's really going to require sort of a reimagining of how we deliver services to people, how people actually undergo occupational training. We have, even in our manufacturing firms, are talking about how they can train people even though they've got to be spatially distant, right? So you've got these machines that people actually have to be working on, physically hands-on. And so how do you do that training when folks need to be apart from one another? The other piece for us is just looking at the disproportionate impact to Black and Brown communities. And so we already were overrepresented in service industries and as essential workers. And then if many of those businesses close down, then we're going to be overrepresented in terms of the number of unemployed. And so it is, it's a catch-22. It really is it's a challenging time, as I'm sure you well know. But we do have employers who are also hiring, and so there is hope in terms of employment opportunities and the chance to change things around.